And to our number one story on the countdown and a few simple facts. Somewhere in the English-speaking world right now, it is happening. A kid of about 11 or 12, maybe younger, maybe older, is watching for the first time an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He will be shortly made simultaneously scared out of his mind in a way no slasher movie could cause, and also impressed. He will want to know, who are the people who did this to him? He will watch the credits and see a name listed as actor or director or associate producer or executive producer, Norman Lloyd. Somewhere else, somebody is seeing the underappreciated Hitchcock classic Saboteur for the first time and will be amazed by the just crazy enough title character and watch the credits and see the actor's name, Norman Lloyd. Or it was this past Sunday night on the American Life cable network and somebody else was discovering the subtlety of the character of Dr. Auslander in the 80s staple St. Elsewhere, played by Norman Lloyd. Or the choreographer in Charlie Chaplin's movie Limelight, or Finley in Jean Renoir's The Southerner, or the president of Wasamata U in The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, or on The Practice, or in his most recent major film, as they like to say, In Her Shoes, in his scene in bed with Cameron Diaz. Or in a legendary performance as Cinna the Poet in the Orson Welles version of Julius Caesar just 70 years ago, or in a new documentary film, the title of which, intended to be a rhetorical question, becomes more than a little ironic when you realize just how ubiquitous he has been in a career that began right around 1932. It is called Who is Norman Lloyd? The answer joins me after this excerpt from the film.
You know, you pick up a book on Charlie Chaplin, you're thumbing through a book on Charlie Chaplin, and there's a picture of Charlie Chaplin around a swimming pool with Paula Goddard and God knows who all, and there's Norman Lloyd. You pick up a book on Orson Welles and the group theater, you're thumbing through it, and there's Norman Lloyd.
Who is Norman Lloyd? Well, if you don't know Norman Lloyd, you should know Norman Lloyd, because he is the history of our industry up to now.
I was summoned one day by the fellow who was the head of them for the studio. And he said, Norman, there seems to be a problem.
I had no idea that Norman was blacklisted in the 50s. I can only imagine that it must have hurt deeply.
As promised, actor, director, producer, and at this point, probably America's 22nd or 23rd ranked men's tennis player, Norman Lloyd. What a pleasure it is to see you in the flesh, sir.
See you, Keith. I've admired you for a long time, ever since the sports days.
Well,
it was great.
I can beat you on that. I've admired you longer than you've admired me. There's no question about that.
You.
But now here comes something, maybe the one thing you'd never done or been in. Maybe the one thing, a movie about you. What is this like?
You've got me. I don't know, do I play the heavy or do I play the lead? But Who is Norman Lloyd is apparently about me.
Did you enjoy it? Was it an unnerving thing to watch or to experience?
I enjoyed it because the approach to it was very interesting. We went everywhere in this town that I'd played, in California, to the stages that we shot on and so on. And I got a retrospective. I got a sense of a long life in show business, 75 years.
75 years. And on top of everything else, you were in the earliest known American television drama, On the Streets of New York, televised on NBC, August 1939. You had a show on this network, in my network, in 1939?
If you would call it a show, it is an example of the worst acting ever seen by man or beast. And when they ran it again last night at the Film Forum, I warned them that it was the worst acting, but when I saw it, it was worse than that.
It had improved with memory?
It had gotten so bad that it almost got good. I was thoroughly ashamed of it, but it provided a lot of laughs for the audience.
Yeah, the one movie I was in, I like to show to people and say, and I got an award from the National Cabinet Makers Society for the most wooden performance of 1987. So, now, I'm afraid to the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm afraid to spoil the ending or the plot of Saboteur for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, and if you haven't, go see it now. But about the Statue of Liberty scene, there's something I didn't know about it until I was doing my reading today, and let me just play the penultimate part of that scene and then ask you this question. Play that.
Come on, Clyde.
We'll leave you hanging there for a moment. That's you. You did that backflip yourself?
I did the backflip, but I only fell about 4 feet.
Well, obviously, you're not on the Statue of Liberty for real at the time, but still, I couldn't have done that in judo class when I was 10 years old. You did a backflip?
I did the backflip because Hitchcock said, I would hope you will be able to do this flip over the railing, Norman, because I want to be in a shot right on you so that we see you go and we don't have to cut.
Right.
And that's what he did. He held the camera and you actually saw me go, not a double. The cut where you see the body fall and hang on was about the best stuntman of the time, Davy Sharp. At one time, they used to have their equivalent of the Oscar. It was called the Davy Sharp.
Wow.
No more. That is, the stuntmen had that.
Yeah.
And he does the fall. He did it in one take. And that is the exact proportions of the Statue of Liberty.
So it's a piece of work. It's an effort.
He really went right through the air and caught right between the thumb and forefinger.
Well, all right, so if somebody hasn't seen it, we're just going to leave it there and not tell them what happens after that. But I want to tell something that we know had a good, happy ending. It was a terrible experience, but the blacklist, which is mentioned in the documentary, more than what happened, and the gist of it, and if I get it wrong, correct me, the gist of it was nobody accused you of anything, but they wanted you to throw your friends under the bus. It was one of those, basically, right?
That was the general picture.
All right. I want to know whether you think the blacklist, could happen again.
Yes.
What do we do to stop it?
Be vocal in your opposition to it. As I say in Who is Norman Lloyd, it was cowardice on the part of those in authority that they fell victim to it, that they agreed to it, that they acquiesced in exercising a blacklist. And if they had resisted and said, no, we're not going to do it, you can't do it, it wouldn't have happened.
It would have been that simple. And at a point you made, you had an extraordinary observation the other night when somebody asked you at the film forum in the question and answer session after the premiere of the movie about Elia Kazan, the great director who did throw people under the bus and whose Lifetime Achievement Award at the Academy Awards just in 1999 was still a subject of extraordinary controversy because he did this. Your observation was he must not have trusted his talent. That's why he went along with it?
No, I may have indicated that. I didn't mean to put it that way. He was a man of enormous talent. Kazan I worked with a couple of times, and he was a wonderful director, and he had a great sense of warmth and so on for the actor. He preserved the actor's ego, and he was constantly interested in your performance. Those are two of the best things a director can do.
Right.
And he changed his mind politically from being where he was to he didn't want anything more to do with it. That is perfectly acceptable.
Sure.
What is not acceptable is that he gave names. And the story behind that is he was told by a major producer, it's your career that's at stake. And if you don't, your career's out the window. He didn't have to do that. He could have worked forever, come back in the theater forever. He didn't have to do that.
It was just easier to do it.
Yeah.
In some way. Well, let's close out on some happier notes. Playing tennis with Charlie Chaplin and he wouldn't wear his eyeglasses?
Well, yeah. You know, we actors, we have our vanity. I wear mine, though, because I want to win more than be a good actor, you see. And Charlie, that is to say, he would stay on the baseline. There he is, on the baseline. And he could see the ball well. But if he went to the net, the ball was upon him so quickly that he couldn't focus. So he wouldn't wear his glasses and therefore could never go to the net in doubles.
And what he said to you when you were rallying against him in one of your matches, what you overheard him say to himself, actually?
Yeah, in a given game, you know, he was well ahead in the game and his lead began to decrease. And I got within 1 point of tying him in that game, and I heard him muttering to himself as he went to the baseline to pick up a tennis ball. Charlie, he said to himself, take all the success you can get.
Marvelous. Much of what we have left out is in the documentary, Who is Norman Lloyd? There is the obviously named website for additional info, and it is playing at the moment at the Film Forum here in New York City. Norman Lloyd himself will be playing at a tennis court adjoining his home first of next week, probably. You have honored me with your presence, sir. Thank you.
And it's been an honor to be here, Keith.
Thank you. That is Countdown for this, the 1,672nd day since the declaration of mission accomplished in Iraq. From New York, I'm Keith Olbermann. Good night and good luck.